Hey everybody, thanks for coming back to my channel. So I wanted to talk about projecting into the future. So that sounds really, high tech, but really it's just if perhaps you aren't really happy about your current situation, or you have some anxiety about your current situation. Maybe there's a lot of stress in your current life, or you just feel like things would be better if this happens, or if that happens, or when this or that happens. Excuse my background. Outside, the kids are running in the leaves, right? So when you are that type of person, or when you have those moments, what you tend to do, or at least what I tend to do, let's talk about myself, right? What I'll tend to do is I'll just fantasize about the future. And I've been doing this my entire life. Now that I look back on it, I will literally just sit and fantasize about everything that I want to happen, and how it's going to look, and how it's going to be, and how I'm going to feel, and everything's going to be great, right? You romanticize how things will be outside of where you're currently at. And then say that works. Say you doing that helps you to manifest what you want. You do the work behind it. You do the work physically, or maybe you do the internal work and you get it, right? And you're living that life, but perhaps, once again, it's stressful, it's overwhelming. It might not be as perfect as you thought it was going to be. And you start to project again out into the future.
Hello.
Madison, I'm talking, baby.
I want to say hello to Mommy.
Okay, you can say hello.
Hello.
Okay, now go play with Rara.
What?
So you do that. And the cycle really doesn't end, right? What stops that cycle from happening? I don't even know what the cause may be. So I guess that's part of it, is seeing what is causing you to do that. Now, for me, as I said earlier, I think partially it's because I started to project to begin with. So when I started to project, I was really focusing on all the positive, right? And I just felt like it was an escapism, really. Like I was just escaping from my current reality into my soon-to-be or hopeful future reality, but it was an escape. So usually when you escape, or your mind escapes, it's not thinking about anything bad. It's thinking about all the things that are in contrast to where you're at right now, right? All the things that are better. And once you get it, what you've been trying to manifest or what you want, again, you're pushing to the future. You're thinking about something better. And I just wonder, okay, so what is the cause of it? Is it anxiety? Is it that you just don't want to face the present? You want to be in a delusion, or you want to fantasize? So I guess the remedy is to really just stay in the moment and deal with what's on the table right now. And when you feel like it's too much, it's overwhelming, I don't want to do this anymore, and you start to push yourself out and further out, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Do you bring yourself back to the present? I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out right now, because I'm faced with that. I'm realizing that's my cycle. Because the thing is that as you project yourself out to that future life, right? Once you're in that life, if you're constantly pushing yourself out to the next life, you never really, everything you have right now, you manifested it, good or bad, right? But think about all the good, if you want to say good, all the good things you manifested that you actually wanted. And now you're probably complaining about it. It's too much for you. It's overwhelming, and it's lost its shine and shimmer, right? It's lost its glaze of fantasy, of delusion. And so now it's real, and now you have to deal with it and everything that comes with it, the good and the bad. And it becomes too much, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. So I wonder, people say, live in the present, live in the now. But then people say, well, if you don't like your reality, just see yourself out of that reality and you'll get to the next one. But I guess it's instead of doing any of that, really, get to the root of what you really want. Perhaps. What do you really want? Beyond the material, behind anything that can be finite, what do you really want now? What does that look like right now? Or what do you have right now that you love having? You know, what are you grateful for? So I guess that goes back to people saying, like, do a gratitude list. That really helps. And maybe that's the thing, you know, just focus on the good things instead of saying, okay, I don't like this, I'm tired of this, so I project myself. Instead, like, literally become engrossed in the things that bring you joy in your current situation. And maybe in doing that, you'll stay present and you'll stay there. And but then what do you do when the things come up that you don't want to deal with? Like, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that? Maybe you try to unbox it and see, okay, why am I not feeling these things? Like, why is it triggering me? Why is it causing me to have stress? Like, what is it? Why? Maybe you unbox it. Maybe that's part that you need to heal so that once you project yourself to the new life or the future, you won't be faced again with those same things. Because maybe that's what it is. You keep projecting yourself because you're running away from that person that triggers you, that feeling that you get. Because let's just go back to that, right? To the triggering or to the projection. Okay, the video, y'all can tell that that I got some third house Gemini energy. Hold on. What, baby? Okay, let's pause for the calls. Y'all, I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. My 4-year-old, she built a castle out of leaves. That was very cute of her. So, I don't even know where I left off at. But if we're projecting ourselves, right, we're running away from what's happening in our current reality that makes us uncomfortable. And what is causing us to run away from it? Okay, it makes us uncomfortable. Okay, why is it uncomfortable? You know, like, you have to constantly keep pushing yourself to get over that trigger, to get over the thing that's making you vulnerable, or that's making you feel unsafe, or that's making you feel, and when I say unsafe, of course, like, you know, we know what we mean by that, right? It could be a situation where you feel like, okay, I just don't want to deal with this. Like, this puts me in a space where I just feel like it's just too much. I can't handle it. I don't want to deal with it. Boom, projection. Boom, overeating. Boom, overspending. Boom, overworking. Boom, on your phone all the time, right? And you just become part of the illusion. You push yourself out there and you constantly, like, self-medicate. And that's kind of like when people, like, as me as a nurse, and I'm back in nursing school, you find a lot of people who have mental health issues, they self-medicate with drugs. Now, I know that went all the way to the left side, right? But we all, in some sense, self-medicate to get through the things in our life that are uncomfortable, that push us to a limit where we don't want to be, because our body wants to protect itself. Our body doesn't want to be uncomfortable. Our body doesn't want to be under stress, because stress is what literally kills us. That's what it is. That's what kills all of us. It's stress. Everything comes from stress. So, anywho, we or I, whatever, should get to the root of it, right? But if it's uncomfortable and you don't want to deal with it, how do you get to the root of it? You know, people always say all these, like, little things, you know, all these 5 tips on how to heal your inner child, blah, blah, blah. They tell you all this stuff, but it's just like, it becomes exhausting. It becomes exhausting because it's like sometimes you feel like you're not getting it. Or maybe I'm going to talk about myself once again. Sometimes I feel like I'm just not getting it. Like, what am I missing? Like, I will have those most, like, amazing, clairvoyant, like, magical days. You know what I'm talking about? Like, everything you think about, it happens, like, as you want it to happen. Your food tastes like somebody grandma made it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you be like, oh my God, this food tastes so good. Like, water just tastes so pure and clean and cool and refreshing. The sun is just touching your face and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for this moment. I'm so grateful for every part of my life. Life is amazing. This is amazing. Like, this is really cool. Like, I'm living my life. You go to the store, you go to school, you go to work, and like everybody's just giving out, like, I don't know, rainbows and freaking unicorns. And you're like, this is freaking amazing. Life is worth living. And then maybe somebody will say something, do something, a memory will come up, whatever the case may be, and it takes you right back down. It brings you right back down, and you're like, oh. Like, here we go again. I knew this was going to happen, right? Like, here I am. I thought that I had figured all this shit out. I thought I had pulled myself out of this, but here I am with it again. And it's like, you're doing the work. You're working with the crystals. You're doing the meditations. You're doing the whatever mantras. And you go, you're doing all your good stuff, burning your sage and all this other crap. Like, drinking your green smoothies. Having sex, whatever you got to do, you're doing all these things, and you're like, why? Like, why do I keep going through this cycle? What am I not missing? Because there's that quote that's like, well, the universe or God is going to keep showing you the same things until you learn your lesson. And I'm beginning to realize that, like, the lesson is just a big part of the lesson is going back to where it all started and undoing those things, or really examining why you are how you are, why you think how you think, what caused you to feel this way. And that right there can become the part that's the most painful. It takes time to do that. It takes time to go unpack, right? It takes time to unpack because you just want to enjoy the fact that you're there, that you're in your manifestation, that you're in your happy place, that you're living your best life. You just want to enjoy that, assuming that you're there. Like, I honestly, to be personal, I'm there. I have manifested a lot of things. And it's like really freaking awesome, honestly. Of course, there's so much more to come, but I've manifested a lot. And then I find myself not being able to enjoy it because of the past. And it's kind of like how we see people like celebrities and shit, right? They're all famous and they just got their life together on the outside. And you're like, why did they do this? Why are they on drugs? Like, why are they shaving all their hair off? Like, why are they doing that? Like, what's happening? Why she lose so much weight? Why she gain so much weight? Why is he dating her? Like, and you wonder why people are going through this stuff that they're going through is because they have not unpacked. You made a really, really big one? Okay, here I come. I'm gonna come see it. You so cute.
I'm gonna make a small one now.
Okay, go make a little one. So it's because they haven't unpacked. They've made it to paradise, right? They made it to paradise. They're there. Everything's great. And they don't want to unpack any of their old stuff that they brought. But it's like, okay, girl, you need your toothbrush. I kind of do, but just look at that sunset. But, okay, what about your underwear? Like, aren't your underwear dirty? Like, you need to put on some clean drawers, girl. Like, I know, but the water is just so nice. No, like, can we unpack what we have so we can, like, actually be here? Like, so that we can, but you don't want to bring those, but you're going to do it. You already brought that stuff from the past to where you're at now. It's just, you don't want to unpack it. You're going to always bring it. This is why when people say, like, you see people on Facebook, they're like, it's probably like that same one person on your Facebook feed, right? That's like, I'm leaving St. Louis. I'm packing up me and my kids. We going, wherever you live, right? Whatever city. They're like, I'm moving here. And it's like every 3 months they're moving and they're still here. at the same place that they've been at the whole time. But they're like, I'm gone. I'm getting out of this place. But the thing is even if they were to leave St. Louis or leave, I don't know, whatever podunk you live in, or a big city, right? If they do that, they're still going to be them. Their problems are still going to exist. They might make more money. They might get a better job. Their kids might be in a better school, whatever. They might even find them a man, honey. But they're still them. They still bring all their baggage. So the thing is, how are we going to go through our baggage? But then it's just like, okay, I've been healing forever. Like, I'm tired of healing. I'm tired of doing this. I'm tired of going through this cycle. I don't want to do it anymore.
No, you're not.
I'm not going to do it anymore.
No, you just woke up in the morning.
I just woke up in the morning. I just did that. Ain't that the truth? Hey, step one, wake up in the morning.
Yeah. Step 2, eat some lunch.
Eat some lunch. Step 2. You right, but go on, baby. Tell her. Just go take a step by step from the mouth of babes. Okay, so that's one thing, right? Take things step by step. But also what I've realized is, that's where the depression comes in, where you feel like you're just on this constant loop. Be careful, girls. You're on that constant loop of high and low, high and low, high and low. And you're like, okay, why is this still happening? And then you look at your life and you're like, I should be happy, or I should be grateful for this. I should be grateful for that. This is not going to, of course, resonate with everybody, because not everybody is there. Maybe some people have come, they have arrived, honey, and they don't see things like that. Or they're like, okay, well, I'm just still trying to manifest, I'm still in the root chakra phase of life, right? Where they're still trying to manifest things that are just basic necessities, which I totally understand that. But so you're like, that's why I'm feeling this way. But I feel like, honestly, whatever level you're on, you can start to feel like you can do this type of work, right? Wherever level you're on. But so what is the freaking work? I don't know. I guess first realizing that healing isn't something that is linear, for one. Turn around, girls. Get back down the hill. Come back. So anyways, first is just, of course, realizing that, it's not linear. And so this channel, I was just thinking about the channel one day, and I was just like, okay, so this channel is about heal, grow, and live. You heal, and as you heal, you start to grow. And then once you've grown, you can live now, right? But then you still have to go back through the same cycle of healing, of growing, of living. And sometimes everything is happening at the same exact time. So you might be healing trauma from your childhood while also growing in your career and you're living in your love life, right? And then something might happen in your love life where now something comes up. Something may have not had to even happen, but something comes up that triggers you. You have to heal that part. And then maybe you're growing more because you've come past that trauma that you've had as a kid. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to grow into and just allow myself to expand past that trauma. And then, you're living. And then you go, whatever, what I'm saying? Like everything just starts to, then you're like, in your career is living now. You're like, you made it to your next level in your career. Maybe you graduated from school or you got that promotion. Now you're living that out, whatever that is. But then something like every new experience is going to, I guess, trigger or pinpoint and I don't want to keep saying trigger, but that's really what it is. It's going to highlight something that needs healing. And that's okay because you've done it before and you can continue to do the work. And the thing is, healing doesn't always have to be so painful. It doesn't have to be so oh my God, this is so traumatic. And it doesn't have to always take that long. Sometimes healing is just you seeing things. You actually start to see it. Turn around, girls. So sometimes it means you actually seeing, for example, you all know those hoarder shows, right? people are hoarding, and you're like, and then they have like a teenager, and you're like, how the hell is this teenager living? Like at the end, or like the middle, after they showed you all, just kind of like, well, Bessie's 8-year-old son. You were like, wait, what the hell? Like, how do you have a kid in this house? And you kind of think, like, how would any kid, like, how is that kid going to grow up? Like, what's going to happen with that kid, right? I had to come to a realization, because I'm working on manifesting something for my home, for my family. A home. I'm manifesting a home. Let me just say it. Like, what's the secret, right? And I was like, what's blocking me? And I had to think, okay, what does home really mean for me? As, of course, a new home for sale pops up on my phone. Thank you. Okay, I see you. And like, what does home really mean for me? And then, of course, you have to go back to your literal home, your childhood home. And I knew it to be true, but I didn't really see it from my adult eyes. I was still seeing it from my childlike eyes, that I grew up with a hoarder. My mother was a hoarder. Technically, I really think my mom still is a hoarder, but I love you, Mom. But I grew up with a hoarder, meaning, like, it wasn't like the shows where you could barely walk through the house, but we had so much stuff in that house. I remember, like, most of my childhood, all of my childhood. I always had my own room. That's the thing. I always had my own room. It was the biggest room in the house. And my room was the biggest. It was my own. Like, I didn't have to share it with anybody. I had my own little space in the world, right? And maybe that's why I was okay. I'm not sure. I don't know. But, like, we had 2 stories, right? So the second story of the house had a bathroom. And pretty much my whole life, I never even saw the bathroom, because the bathroom was filled. The entire bathroom was full, from the floor to the ceiling, from the back of the bathroom all the way to the door was full. Like, you couldn't see anything in this room. Maybe some sunlight coming through, because there was a window in there. And then even, like, it was a closet right across from the bathroom. It's probably still full to this day. Was completely full. And then there would be parts of my life, like, because I lived in a number 5 house. If you know anything about numerology, go look it up. But this house, like, a lot of people came in and out. Like, my mom would foster children, like, unofficially. Like, if anybody needed a place to live, they was coming to live with my mama. Like, for real, for real. Turn around, Mariah. Oh, let me take a sip, y'all. So they would come. I mean, anybody. My sisters, my mom raised 2 of my father's children. They were not her biological children. She wasn't with my father anymore. He didn't even talk to her. And she raised 2 of his children. And they would come. My sister had a baby. They stayed there for a while. Like, just people, like any of my siblings, like friends that needed a place to stay, they would come there and live. Like, if I go through the number of people who have lived at that house, it would be crazy to think about it. But I should probably do that one day. But I mean, everybody lived there. And all throughout that, I always had my own room. Always. Nobody slept in my room. Like, that was Brandy's room. Okay? So, but it would be times where people would leave, and, like, a room in the house would once again just get full, like, full of so much stuff. And I remember going to college, coming back, and there was, like, 2 rooms in the house. Like, my old childhood room was full of crap. The back room upstairs was full of crap. And even the front room upstairs was full. Like, that became full again of all these boxes. So I say all that to say, like, and then my mom she just hoarded so much stuff. There was so much stuff in the basement, in her room. Like, there was just we had so much stuff. My mom would have, like, 20 things of deodorant. I mean, like, a closet full of toilet paper. Like, she kept stuff in the house. Okay, are y'all okay up there? Is it any dirt? Y'all not playing in the dirt, are y'all? I see you. Be careful, Rara. I don't know, y'all. They look a little shifty up there, but I'm gonna let them live their life. They're gonna be like, my mother, just let us live our life. They're gonna be doing their own YouTube video. Anyways, so that's how it was. Like, I don't know if I can explain it even more, but there was a lot of stuff in that house. Like, we didn't even have, like, our kitchen was in the basement, and it was just a lot of stuff. I can go down that road, but I'm not gonna do that right now. But looking back, like, I knew that I grew up basically without, right? I grew up without a lot of things, but I always had my own room, always had a place to live. Like, I had that stability of being in that house. We did not move back and forth. Like, we had that house. I always had my room. Like, I can't emphasize how much importance that was for me to have my own room growing up. I think my mom knew that. Cancer crab, okay? So I had my own room. We had that space, but I still had to unbox the fact that I live with a hoarder. Like, I knew it to be true. Like, okay, my mom hoards and kid. But when I actually looked at it, I was like, oh shit. Like, I was like the child of a hoarder. I was one of those kids that I was thinking about in the freaking show. And I was like, okay, so what did that do to me? What does that do for me? And of course, I have a fear of hoarding now. Like, I'm afraid to, like, I start to go crazy, like, internally, when I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much stuff, or I need to get rid of this. I'm very conscious of it. And I'm like, okay, if I get a house, I don't want to do this, I want to do that. Like, I want it to feel this way, I want this and that. So I'm unboxing that, but it doesn't, just me simply realizing, okay, that's how my childhood was, and I don't want that moving forward, or what do I want moving forward? That is the healing. It doesn't have to take years. It doesn't have to take, all these sessions with people and all this. It's you realizing and seeing it sometimes with different set of eyes, with your adult eyes. It's like when you watch those movies that you shouldn't be watching as a kid, and you watch them anyways, and then you're like, oh, okay. And then you see them as an adult, you're like, oh my gosh, like, you start to really see it. With Madison, get from over there, with your adult eyes and adult experiences, and you get to really get to the depth of it. That's exactly what you can do when it comes to doing that healing or that inner child work, or just healing about a situation that happened. It can even just have happened as an adult. And that's why I think it's really important throughout your day, like even when you come to the end of your day, to reflect on your day. How did this day go? How did I feel about how did I show up for my children? How did I show up for the person that I'm with? How did I show up at my job? How did I show up for myself? Like, and it's not coming from a space of judgmental energy, right? It's coming from that space of just you simply being the onlooker, like, okay, what happened? How did I feel in that situation? Or just having those simple check-ins throughout the day of, how do I feel? Because you can easily put yourself back into the loop if you go right back into those same feelings. And this, I forgot, I think it's Brown and Benny talked about this. It's so crazy. She talked about this in another video. I watched it a minute ago. Hold on. And we can find ourselves doing that. So, yeah, I don't know where this video went. I don't even know if I'm going to post it, but I just wanted to talk about that need to escape, and really honestly seeing it as escape. Because I had to look back on a lot of things, a lot of times in my life where I was stressed out, and what did I do to cope? I would watch TV series all the freaking time, all the time. And I would tell myself it's okay because I'm a very productive person. I'm very intelligent. If I need to read, I'll read. If I need to do some yoga, I do some yoga, work out, eat good, and do all this. I'm like, I'm good. Like, okay, yeah, I watch a lot of TV, but I'm like really good. Like, I journal and I do this, I do that. Okay, maybe you're just balancing things out because you do spend hours watching TV to avoid life, And that's what I'm learning is I don't want to avoid things anymore. Because when you do that, you'll get that confusion of like, I don't know what I want to do. I'm not sure if this is working out, because you're never in the reality. You're never in a real space. You're constantly putting yourself in. Constantly putting yourself, outside of reality. So when you're dealing with reality, you're welcome, baby. it could be something very hard to deal with because you don't deal with it. You don't want to deal with it because it hurts, or because you never had to deal with it, or you don't want, like, whatever. I don't know. You got to figure that shit out for yourself. So that's all I'm saying. This cycle is going to be a cycle. We're always going to be either healing, growing, or living at some part of our life, right? And I think we all want to just get to that point where everything is living. Everything is living. Like, we're just living like we have the money. The bills are getting paid like auto pay. The money's coming in. The career is where we want it to be. The love life is where we want it to be. The health is everywhere. Like, everything is 10, 10, 10 across the board. And I'm not saying that can't happen. I'm not saying that it's not real, that it doesn't happen. But I think the more that we indulge in this romanticism of life, in this picturesque reality that's not real, the more that we allow ourselves to project our lives into that space, the more disappointing life is. When in reality, things are either growing, healing, or they're being lived. And that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine, because we still have to undo a lot of things that happened before we even realize what was happening. And that's our childhood. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. But I think once you allow yourself to see that it's a cycle, and to see that, okay, everything is a cycle of, like, that's part of growth too. Look at nature. Nature dies off, nature comes back, nature thrives. It heals itself while it's in its dormant state. Look at, like, right now, all the leaves are falling off. It's going into a dormant state, so it's healing. It's allowing itself to rest and all that. And then come springtime, it's going to start growing. And by the summer, honey, it's thriving. It's creating. It's being bountiful. It's creating something. It's giving offspring and all that. Then it goes right back into its cycle. So that's okay for us to do the same thing. It's okay. And that's life. But once you find yourself in that same loop of just the same loop, as far as there's a different loop. Like, of course, the cycle of life, right? The circle of life. There's that, right? But then there's like that loop, that depression loop, that bipolar loop. And it does not have to be that. It doesn't have to be labeled as that. I just took a psych exam, okay? That's probably where this is coming from. But it's not that. It doesn't have to be that. And it could be that. I mean, I don't know. But once you find yourself running away from it, and then you're right back in the same loop you were in, that's the loop I'm talking about. That runaway loop. Everything is better over there. I'm going to run over there with all my baggage. I'm not going to unpack anything. Keep myself nice and tight. And I'm going to just feel like I'm living. And then life happens, and you're like, no, I'm going through the same thing again. I attracted the same man, or this is the same job. This job is no better than the last job. I don't know what it is, whatever it is with you, whatever that is, that's when oh, shoot, this is a part of my life that I gotta figure this shit out. I gotta figure it out so I can get to the other side of this, so I can actually get into life. Because when you go through that delusion loop, I'm gonna call that the delusion loop. When you go through that flight delusion loop, you are not able to heal, to grow, to live. You're in the matrix, per se. That's where you're at. You're not in reality anymore. And what the hell is reality? I don't know. But you're not there. You're off somewhere. You're not even in this space and time. You're not even here with us. Like, the lights are on, but no one's home. And that's when you become depressed. That's when you feel like, what's the point? That's where it's just, that's the pain. That's when all this time goes by and you're like, what the hell did I do with my life? That's when your kids grow up and they look at you like, you didn't do this for me. You didn't do that for me. Like, where were you? That's when you lose. And if that's happened, that's okay. Now you know better, do better. And it's the same for me. That's what I'm figuring out now too. So I'm figuring out, that's why I did this video, because I was just sitting back, thinking about life. All the kids play with the leaves and the trees, and they just live. And they grow, and they expand their consciousness. Hey, that's enough. That's enough. Leave that alone. Come play with these leaves. Stop, Mariah. They're like shaking my neighbor's bushes and stuff. Ugh. It's okay. Let them live their life, y'all. Okay, hold on, Maddie. Give me a few minutes. So yeah, that's my, that's my thesis, my TED Talk. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Let me know if you like these style videos. This kind of works for me because I don't always want to get myself together and get in front of a camera, and I'm still trying to live. I don't want to just focus on work. That's like my new thing. It's not just being work oriented, because work is very easy for me. It's so easy for me to work. It's so easy. That's my escape sometimes, working. Because I always get the results that I want. It takes time, but I get the results that I want because I'm putting in the work. Like, really? Really, Mariah? Okay, yeah, I gotta go. Let me show y'all what this child is doing. What did you do? Why is it on that way, Mariah?
I do not like that way.
What you doing, Rara?
I do.
Can you fix it? Turn it around. She's like, what? Okay, sit on the bench. So yeah, that's the video. I hope you all liked it, got something out of it. Please let me know what you think. Yeah, I'm just really unboxing, unpacking. Okay, we're about to. I'm unpacking. This is the time of the year where we need to do this anyways. Going, late fall, going into winter. About to get into Capricorn season. We're about to be delusioned by Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year and all that. That's like our distraction, to distract us from healing. We're going to deal with that and go right through the same cycle, right? So we have to make sure that cycle. Maddie, go in the house. Go wash your hands. We got to make sure that we don't get bamboozled by this cycle. That we create our own cycles, if that makes any sense. You have to know where you're at. You have to really know where you're at every part of your life. And if you don't know, that's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine too. To be like, I don't know where the hell this is going. I'm confused. I don't know what the hell I want. I'm lacking clarity. It's okay. Take the time, unpack, sit down for a second. Just chill out, and it'll come to you. But I love you all. As you can see, everything in my garden is starting to die off, to deteriorate. Wash your hands. It's some soap right there, baby. Turn the water on. Yeah, this motherhood, I love it, but I also be like, then I love it. So I gotta put my phone down and be a mother and give them their time and space, because that's what they came here for, to get my time and space, and I'm here to give it. That's why we created this this relationship. Before we came down here, me and them made a pact for me to be their mother and for them to be my children. So okay, here, baby. Madison, stop that. I don't like when you do that. Here.
Sorry.
Go wash your hands, Rara.
I can't have it again.
I love y'all. I'm doing orders too, so I'm doing a lot right now. But I just hope that was helpful. Let me know. Hope you all listened to the whole thing and kind of was able to follow my mindset. Bye, y'all.